'n Kaapse melkery wat gebruik maak van 'n bioverwerker om bekostigbare en onafhanklike elektrisiteit op te wek, het 'n elektrisiteitsrekening van R110.000 na R12.000 per maand verminder. Andrew Taylor, 'n ingenieur van Cape Advanced Engineering, wat die toestel ontwerp het, sluit by ons aan. Welkom, Andrew.
Goeiemôre.
Andrew, firstly, explain to us where this whole concept of a biodigester or a bioplant came from.
Okay, this particular one stems from the fact that Willem and Paul Besson from Allencraal Farm and Darling are progressive farmers who have fulfilled the role for South Africa as visionary adopters of a new technology. Now, the technology is actually quite old. Germany has 8,000 plants similar to the one of the same size, in fact, on average, as the one in Darling.
8,000?
8,000, and they're generating more power from those plants than what Medupi will generate when it starts up. So it's a big industry in Germany. And we made the decision in 2007, 2008 that we would adapt our company from being an engine development company for the motor industry to being a biogas power generation company. And we heard of the Bessons' decision. We linked up with them in 2008, and from 2008 planning started. But the problem was the cost of electricity in this country was at that stage about 1/10 of what the German projects were earning. So we had to set out and develop a unique local solution.
What makes this plant unique?
Okay, I think probably one of the things that's unique is that although the Bessons can only use about half of the power that we can generate and about 1/3 of the gas that we're actually producing, the project is still more or less viable. Obviously, we're hoping to be able to sell electricity through onto the grid, which is obviously in dire need of extra capacity. But that legislative framework hasn't been put in place yet. So what makes this one unique is, interestingly, it was invented here near Johannesburg in 1957 by a pioneering farmer. And it's different to the European technology in that it has enabled us to make it a lot more cheaply, but it was actually advocated and recommended, is recommended by the United States Department of Agriculture. And what it basically looks like at a simple level is we build, in effect, an artificial stomach that's similar to an animal stomach. And that's what makes it so different to the European technology. This system emulates nature quite well. We build a very long trough, very big trough that'll hold 10,000 tons. And you basically take your waste material, we take all wastewater, all manure, we make it into a type of soup, simply mix it basically, and you push it in at the one end of this long trough, and as with the stomach, you push it on the one end, it progresses, and when it comes out 45 to 60 days later, it's completely digested and stabilized, as you say, and in that period, organisms and bacteria, natural bacteria that exist in animal stomachs, that get there because you're putting cow manure in there, those organisms decompose and break down what hadn't been digested in the feedstock that was fed to it. And it produces biogas. And what's unique about our one is it uses the 1957 invention, but it's quite a lot more advanced. It's got heating and mixing and various controls. The gas coming off goes into normal engines made in this country. We manufacture the engines in the country, and it generates electricity.
So it's not a case that there's a kiln or a big crucible that needs to be run. It's a basic gas that goes into a basic engine.
It's straight out ordinary gas that cows emit. You know, in fact, all animals produce methane. Methane's a common gas that comes off, or biogas is common. It's a mixture of methane and carbon dioxide. We take that gas, we barely clean it, we take it raw like that, and we put it through our engines, and it generates electricity.
The electricity that's generated, you refer to the fact that it's still not law that you can sell energy back to the grid. Do you think it'll come to a point where that is actually part of the system?
Yes, I'm totally confident. There was a conference here 2 weeks ago in Johannesburg, hosted by the Department of Energy and funded and supported by the Industrial Development Corporation. And as soon as there's a realization by our government decision makers of the benefits that biogas industry can create in terms of job creation. The most important benefit of biogas projects is water treatment. We used them in the 1950s, 60s, 70s and 80s as the primary machine in our water treatment plants, and they're not working at the moment. They're all still there. They're being refurbished or can be refurbished. But in terms of agricultural renewal, it's the biggest opportunity, in my opinion. It's the only way we can get emerging agriculture. We're looking at these rural areas where there's a lot of land, where it's going to be almost impossible to get the unused tribal lands, if you like, to compete with mainstream agriculture. And it's a new agricultural industry, but it has to be given access to the market. And the Eskom power grid, it's a national power grid. is the market which this industry must be allowed to access. And it's been done for wind and solar, which was essentially promoting foreign imported technology. Doesn't create many jobs at all. Whereas biogas industry creates probably 10 to 20, 30 times more jobs per million rand spent. And it's a perpetual process. You're perpetually harvesting biomass feedstock, and I'm not talking about food crop type thing. We're talking about waste biogas
runoff.
Well, our biggest asset in South Africa is our natural grasslands, and most of our natural grasslands are unutilized, and they burn in the winter. So we could be harvesting that, and in so doing, we would set up the machinery for agriculture, and food production would come in the wake of that. But these emerging farming activities would have preferential access to a market, which is the power grid. And we have that capability. We've proven it.
Yeah. Who's going to be the ideal guy to have a plant like this installed on his farm?
Today, it's the Besons are a unique example because they have a large feed mill. So they are 1 in 10,000 possibly, because they not only have a lot of biomass, but they also have a very large electricity consumption. Although they only use half of the power, because this morning, for example, before milking, the farm was using 75 kilowatts, and just as the show started, the farm was using 320 kilowatts. You can monitor it on a tablet. And it peak around from after 10 o'clock through to 4 in the afternoon, they go up to about 550, which the plant can't yet supply. So it supplies most of the power, and then we tap in a bit of extra power from Eskom, but then it drops off during the night. So they are a unique anomaly for more reasons than one. But ultimately, as soon as the legislative frameworks that have already been given generously to wind and solar projects, which are foreign projects in essence, as soon as that type of privilege and benefit is given to South African projects, then the ideal sites are going to be large expanses of currently underutilized land, mostly tribal land actually. And that's where the ideal project will be, because you're going to resurrect, or you're going to create an industry and an agricultural industry in areas where there's currently no source of employment whatsoever.
Where can people get some more information about this?
I think the best is perhaps to send an email to my email address. It's Andrew Taylor, it's ANDREWTAYLOR @cae.co.za.
cae.co.za. We'll also put that on our Facebook site. Thank you very much for coming to visit us today. Wonderful, interesting project.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the interest.
Ja, dit was aan Andrew Taylor van Cape Advanced Engineering. Soos ek sê, daai kontakdetails van hom sal op ons Facebook bladsy wees.